Top 10 heroes you need to play for easy ranked wins. We'll be doing 4 heroes for the tank category, 3 for the DPS, and 3 for the support. With all that being said and done, let's get right to it. Winston, not a surprise pick, a very easy to learn tank, very good escapability, very good dive potential. Overall, one of the best tanks this meta, and honestly counters a lot of annoying DPS too. I highly recommend putting a lot of time into him because I don't see any changes or nerfs coming to him very soon, and especially if you're in the low elos, he could dominate. Not a surprise to anyone, we have Diva. Even after the mid-season patch and her nerf to health, she is still going to be a viable pick. I tell you this, unless everyone on the enemy team is countering you to some regard, like I'm talking Symmetra, I'm talking Mei, I'm talking Zarya, you're still going to thrive, especially in those lower elos. As long as you just die for their healers, die for their people who are out of position, you're going to have a great time and stack up those wins. Just make sure you're not diving without knowing where your support is first. Moving on to Zarya, one of my favorite tanks and team fighting characters, honestly. She's great survivability, great team ults. She can keep your backline safe if they're getting dived, or even if you have dive teammates, say you have a Genji or a Tracer, they're very easy to bubble to keep them alive longer. And if you manage your shields properly, great damage. And she's a huge counter to the most prevalent tank this meta, Diva. So, highly recommend Zarya. Highly recommend her. Now we have the last tank of today, Ratra. Now I was thinking between him or Orisa, but Ratra overall just has so much more damage potential and brawl potential too. And I feel like in most scenarios, even without any combos on him, Ramatra's ult is just like a guaranteed team fight win most of the time. Charging that up, just running at the enemy backline, taking out their supports, taking out any of their DPS, is going to cripple the team with just 1 or 2 picks very easily. Or even if you're getting pushed back by their tank, that ult is going to stay there and tick on the enemy tank for the entire time they're on you. And if you pair that with you transforming, waiting for your transform to end, then ulting to go back into your transform state, you're going to be very tanky, very tanky. Now for the DPS role, starting out with Reaper. Halfway through the season, and I feel like people are still sleeping on my boy Reaper. Great survivability, 300 health, health regen, or life still technically. Great escape tool, great repositioning tool. He is so good. Now, he's not going to be great in all scenarios. I do say that. But for these easy wins where you don't need to track or flick to targets, you could just melt tanks. A good ultimate if you just position it right, no Diva, no, shield up. I feel like you can get a lot of value out of Reaper. Now, my personal favorite of the list, easy push to diamond with just using this character and spam here. We have Mei. Now, her headshot damage, close to Hanzo's. Her ultimate, guaranteed teamfight win, plays properly, of course. Not only that, but locking people out when they're pushing in, like saying a Doomfist diving, a Winston diving, or a Ryan pushing in and just closing them off for the team, it works wonders. It's not broken, unless you have, Bastion breaking down the wall. But most scenarios, you don't even have that. And not to forget her survivability, super tanky, 300 plus health, and her ability to turn into an iceberg. She can prolong and push the point to 99 if you need to. If there's one DPS you take away from this list, for me, I have to say Mei. Knock out of the park all around. Last on the list, we got Junkrat. Now, he's not as durable or has as much survivability as the other DPS on this list, but his damage output might surprisingly be one of the top, especially with squishies running around like Genji Tracers, Hanzos, Junos, a lot of that health nerf still being there for high mobility characters. Junkrat, you could shoot in a random direction and easily get picks without even thinking about it. He's not a hard character to pick up, very easy to play, and his ultimate, great at just removing any character you want, as long as you play it right. Obviously, not throwing it in the front line of the team, but I obviously use it for tank removal, because once a tank's down in an enemy team, their other team just kind of falls. They just fall like bricks. Juno, moving on to the support category. She is by far one of the best supports this meta. A lot of people downplayed her early on before we got enough playtime, but seeing her play out with Diva and a lot of our other tanks is crazy. Not to mention her ultimate is, if you use it correctly, stay inside the ultimate, is going to win you team fights. Great healing, that almost comparable to trans, definitely better than life weavers, and that damage boost. Mwah. And her mobility, hard to pick off too. Overall, a great pick for support. And we have Anna. What can I say? She stood the test of time. Great support. We already know about her. Got that anti-heal, easy to shut down tanks. We got that sleep, easy to stop a push. And we got that ultimate to empower any of our teammates. She's not going to probably be the best or near the top of the tier list, but she has the most utility when it comes to affecting team fights as a support. And you want that. You want that control as a support. In order to get more wins, you want more control. Highly recommend Ana if you just want to dominate the game outright. And to end the video off, we're going to do it with my boy Lucio. I was arguing or thinking, debating between myself whether he should take the spot or Brigida, but his damage potential is just a little bit higher, probably way more higher, unless you're getting dove in the back line. And Brigida, she's more of a bodyguard. She can't really do anything unless you're diving her most of the time. Lucio's great, compatible with a lot of Rhines you're going to see in the most elos. He's compatible with that Ratra, a lot of brawler tanks, and his ultimate, great team fighting ability, or just, protecting your team from something, like a Genji ult. Great support. And that's going to do it for my list. If you guys enjoyed the video, like the advice, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a good ranked journey ahead of you.